Hi guys, I want to do a showcasing video for one of the green leaders that are coming out of the Android 21 or the Set 21 meta, and I just noticed that I skipped this particular leader because it was coming out as a promo, but it's still considered to be one of the cards in the set because there is an Android 16 that's coming out of the set that can enable this leader's abilities to combo a 10k for free on the backside. This leader is pretty interesting, I think. It's because it's able to reduce the cost of basically the Android 21 that costs 4 down to 2 energy. So cards that are, I'll just basically show you guys. So this particular Android 16 is going to be the one coming out of the Set 21, out of the set. What it does is that if your leader is an Android 16 or a blue Android, it will negate this card's energy exhaust in all areas. So this, in tandem with the Android 18 here, allows you to play the blue-green strategy pretty well, allowing to ignore energy exhaust on your charge step. And this basically allows you to combo itself using the backside of this leader. So if you guys read the backside of this leader, it says. Activate battle. Use one of your Android 16 cards or cards with both Android and Scientist in your hand in a combo with the skills negated. So that's the part that really sucks about negating the skills for the battle, because you can combo this guy and then be able to basically have your opponent discard a card out of their hand. However, because the ability on the backside says that the skills are negated, the activate battle won't work. I mean, not the activate battle, but the comboing ability of this guy won't work because the skills are negated. However, you can just play this guy on arrival for 2 energy. This deck is a ramp deck, so you're able to ramp pretty early in the game. I would say it very consistently. You just need a Z charge 1 energy, and then you'll have and then pay 1 blue and 1 green energy to ramp 1 energy. That's kind of the idea here. So by having a lot of energy, you're able to do arrival plays. You're able to do burn strategies using the Bad Omen. You can play this one. I think this card is really good in this particular deck because you reduce the cost down to 2 energy. So long as you're able to play 1 green energy, you're able to counterplay this or counterattack. It won't negate the attack, but what it does is that it basically taxes your opponent. Whenever they want to attack again, they have to, with a non-leader, they have to place a card in their hand and their card and their Z energy into the drop area. So this actually has the ability to actually make it so that it's likely to end the whole turn rather than Topo Reg's Aid or any other floodgate. It doesn't necessarily end the turn because what happens is they can actually just pay the cost, usually by discarding cards out of their hand or bottom decking 2 cards or etc. Those things, a hand size is a pretty large area, so which means that there's going to be a lot of cards in that generally in that area. So especially in Dragon Ball, where the advantages in the hand are generally larger than the board area, and so because of that, it's way easier to pay the cost for Topo and do another swing. But rather with this card, the Android 21 full power counter, when you're able to play this for 2 energy on your opponent's turn, it's likely that your opponent's not going to be able to generate enough Z energy to attack again. And if they do have it, you're basically doing yourself a favor because they're not going to be playing their Z battle cards that can be played by paying Z energy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You play the Android 21's SCR in this deck. It's pretty standardized from the other Android 21 deck that lets you rest your opponent's cards. You do play this particular one in your deck too, just because you're able to ramp. But personally, I think you can probably take this out. You can probably play this, play the Android 16, which is the one that you pay 4 energy on arrival, and then you're able to play an Android 21 with the energy cost of 5 or less. So if you already have the SCR in your hand, because you can't search for it. Let me see here. So if you already have the SCR in your hand, you can actually just play this card because it costs 4 in the owner's hand and in the battle area. So this means that if you can't actually search it, you cannot search it with the Android 16 that lets you search for an Android 21 from your deck, because it has to be an energy cost of 5 or less. And so in the decks, it's actually an 8 cost, so that's unable to be searched. But if you already have this in your hand, on your opponent's turn, you can actually rival that guy and then play him. So this is the Android 16 card that you can rival for 4 energy, and then you can just basically search an Android from your hand that costs an energy cost of 5 or less, and then when you do that, you could just play an Android with energy cost of 5 or less. So this deck, this card in particular, meets you halfway. But for general purposes, I just decided not to play it. But you could definitely play it over this particular card in general. So yeah, enough talking. I'm going to go right into the gameplay video. It's just basically playing against a Bizarro, which is just basically just going to copy whatever you do. I'm going to show you the cards that you want in your opening hand, and basically try to see if you want to mulligan for it. The card you want to mulligan for in your opening hand is generally the 1-cost Speedy Substitution Android 18 card. It's a 1-cost card that when you play it, you can look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then look for an Android, a blue Android that costs 5 or less. So this means you're going to add any of the Androids that you might need, and then you're going to Z-charge her basically on your opponent's turn when they decide to attack you going first. When you're going first and they're going second, you're going to Z-charge her, and then you're able to play this Dr. Gero Z battle card, which allows you to alternatively awaken your leader. But that's the general idea, because this card basically puts this Android 4 or this Android 21 underneath your Dr. Gero as a Z-stack mechanic, and then for 2 energy you can play this card out from underneath your Dr. Gero, and then you're able to ramp 1 energy because that's what it does. So that's the general idea here. So we're going to do a little mulligan here. We're going to keep this card because you're able to look at the top 5 for it, the Android 1, so you're going to actually mulligan most of these cards away. Super combo's not bad. I probably would just go down to 1 super combo, just because you want to see your other cards more often. So, yep, I'm going to draw 4 here. Okay, it looks like I drew my SCR here, so that's pretty good. So, yeah, since I didn't draw my the Android 18 1 drop, I'm going to have to find other ways to be able to Z-charge on my opponent's turn. I need to unawaken here. So, so if you're going first, you're going to be able to, you might be able to get the card out of your deck. So what you're going to do is you're going to charge Android 16, because only on the front side are you able to negate the energy exhaust on an Android 16 card. So you're probably most likely going to side, or you're going to probably charge this one over this one, because this card also allows you to ramp. So we're going to charge this one. From here, you're going to discard this card, and then you're going to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and then hopefully you get the Android 18. And nope, you didn't get the Android 18, but you do have the floodgate option, so you're going to get the floodgate as quickly as possible. You're going to shuffle your deck, and then pretty much from here, you're pretty much going to pass here without attacking, because you can't attack going first. On your opponent's turn, what you're going to do is either combo this card here, because this can be comboed literally on any life, so you can be at 8 life, or you can be at 4 life. You can still combo this for free. But for the sake of keeping your super combo, I'm going to combo this card instead. So you're most likely going to get out of the first attack. So now you have a Z-charge energy. So now the turn begins. You're going to draw a card. At this point in time, you can probably charge one of these cards, or maybe this card. I'm going to charge this one. So I can just pay the energy to play the Dr. Gero here. So now, since the Dr. Gero is a green Z battle, you're going to pay 1 energy. You're going to send this to the drop area, and then you're going to find Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero, with the 1 green energy, you can play him. And then what you're going to do is you're going to Z-stack. Oops, sorry. So you're going to Z-stack this Android 21 underneath him. And so now you have met the alternative awakening condition of the Android 16. When you have 2 or more energy, which you do, and you also have a green scientist Z battle card, and it is a scientist. That'll be weird if it wasn't. Then you're going to be able to alternatively awaken, which you're going to do. You're going to alternatively awaken. You're going to untap 1, draw 1, and then you're going to take life to down 6. So that's pretty much the idea here. And then you have the option of paying the 2 energy to play this Android 21. But since you're going first, most likely your opponent hasn't developed any battle cards. You want to play this when your opponent has battle cards, so then basically you get to absorb those battle cards on your opponent's side and put it underneath the Android 21 here. And then basically you gain their keywords, and then it's a form of removal, essentially. And you can also ramp too. So we're going to hold back on doing that. We're going to pay the 2 energy instead to play the energy amplification, which is an Old Faithful. And so you're going to use his ability here, and then you're going to ramp 1 on top of your deck. Okay, cool. So now you ramped up 2. You ramped up 2 blue energies, so you have 2 energies, and then basically you want to attack with your leader. So now on the backside, you're unable to energy exhaust, ignore energy exhaust for the Android 16 cards, so you're going to rely on other cards to basically ignore energy exhaust themselves. But the good side is, the good thing about this leader on the backside is that you get to reduce the cost of your Android 16 or Android 21 scientist cards by 2, 1 blue and one colorless, and so that allows you to play your floodgates pretty easily. You can play this guy and also ramp 2. You can do a lot of things. But for the most purposes, you're going to attack and then draw a card and then pass turn. That's pretty much the idea here. You're going to end your turn with this guy. He does have barrier and deflect, which is really nice. He also has the ability to bottom deck a card on play, and then add a card to your left to your hand. Bottom deck draw a card and bottom deck it. So basically, it does the same thing as the insurmountable Vegeta. However, I would advise not doing that ability just yet, just because what happens is if you do decide to do ability, you generate a -1. So you might as well just take the life down to 6 using the Awaken ability and not use that ability. You only probably do this if you need to have the cards in your deck, but I can't imagine any Android 21 card you want back in your deck. Okay, so you're gonna pass a turn. Your opponent's probably gonna attack you. You're gonna have no response because these guys have no blockers. Oh, this guy is yeah, this guy's not a blocker. So you're going to take the damage, go down to 5. So if you do have Homicidal Clone here, you can probably use it to get down to 5 to, basically from 5 to 4. You don't need it to be at 4 energy or less, or 4 life or less, to use your super combo, so there's really no reason to go down to 4 or less life. So you can probably just combo out of things. I'm not going to combo this card just because I could. The backside of this allows you to combo an Android 16 or an Android Scientist from your hand for free. So you can probably do that, but you would negate their skills, so there's no point doing that. So you're gonna probably take the last life anyways, and just preserve your hand size as much as possible. Looks like I drew a Homicidal Clone, but that's pretty much it. So they're gonna most likely pass their turn since they're only turn 2, and their turn 2 ends. You're gonna have 4 energy. So unfortunately, Majin Buu is not in this deck because you have to be a mono blue leader to untap energy. Otherwise, it's a decent card. You just need 4 blue cards to play for it, or blue energy to play for it. So I'm probably not going to play that in the future. Okay, from here you're going to play cards that you can energy exhaust ignore. Unfortunately, there's none left in your hand, so what you're going to do is you're going to charge a green card. So I'm probably going to charge a we're going to charge the double striker. I don't think we need it, just to show you the demonstration. Just in hindsight, this card is allowing you to give double strike to one of your attacking green Android cards. So since the Android 16 card is a green card, you can actually just give Champa, basically, a legal Champa to an Android. So that's pretty cool. From here, you can probably pay 2 energy to basically play your Android 21. By now, your opponent should have some battle cards by their turn 2, so you can pay 2 energy. And then you just play this, and then from here you can put 2 cards underneath. We're just going to generate clone tokens here. Okay, so we generate the 2 clone tokens and put it underneath the Android 21, and then from here you're going to ramp your energy down to 5. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to put this in play. Cool. So now I have this. It's going to be playing in rest mode because that's what it does. And then from here, you can also place another one of your opponent's battle cards and place it on the bottom of the deck. From here, you can probably copy his keyword skill from underneath one of them. I don't imagine that there's any cards that come out in turn 2 that can generate a keyword. If you're playing against maybe the Polku, you can probably steal a critical ability. But the critical ability is granted because of the power pole, so there's no need to do that. From here, you can pretty much use her as a blocker. She doesn't have a barrier, but that's unfortunate for her. But that's fine. You don't need to care about the barrier part. You're most likely going to keep 2 energy open just because you want to floodgate your opponent using the full power counter. So what you're going to do is you're going to attack here, and then you're going to basically generate a +1. This deck kind of feels like Gamma in some sense because you are playing a floodgate kind of strategy and then playing cards on your turn. The only difference is this deck ramps pretty well, so you can ramp like twice a turn. I just ramped twice already, so by my next turn, I should be 2 energy ahead of my opponent, and then that allows me to do like really crazy plays. But yeah, on your opponent's turn, you're basically going to pay 2 energy to play this one. The neat thing about this card here is that it has a stat of 25k power. So if you're playing against a red deck that likes to basically play Broly Crown from their hand and look at your opponent's hand, but basically if they look at your hand, they can't discard her because she is a 25k stat. So Broly Crown only discards anything with 20k or less. So leaving 2 energy up is kind of fine against the red players. In other instances, unfortunately it does reduce its cost down to 2 using the leader ability. So cards that are able to tackle costs such as Dodoria or anything that says with an energy cost of 2 or less doesn't get played because this doesn't have deflect. Certain cards like Desperate Measures actually stop this card from seeing its play. Even though it is a 25k stat, its cost is reduced. So you do have to be wary of that when you're playing against blue. And if you're playing against green, they have the Doria or anything that tackles any of the cost of the cards. But yeah, that's pretty much it. it. If you're playing against black, they have Super Kamehameha, so they can actually Super Kamehameha this girl, and then it prevents you from playing. So those are things that you have to worry about when you do decide to play against those leaders. But anyways, pretty much you're going to block with her. She's a 20k blocker. Most likely she's going to die because there's a lot of cards that are over 20k. But basically, you block, you basically counter attack, and then you block with your blocker, and then that pretty much ends their turn because they don't have any Z energy, unless they decided to Z charge on your turn when you decide to attack with this guy. And then if they do decide to pay the energy or the Z energy and their card in their hand, you can actually just combo a Android 16 from your hand. So let's just say we just combo her away, and then Z charge her. So this basically means that you're able to get out of a 25k attack, and then now your turn starts, and they can pretty much Z charge again. You don't have anything that can ignore pretty much energy exhaust, so what you can do is just charge a Sensu Bean here or a Homicidal Clone. I'm going to charge Sensu Bean here, so now you should have 6 energy by turn 4. That's pretty good. And then from here you can pretty much play like these 2 cards for a rival, and then you can probably so basically what you can do is when you start your turn, you can probably start with a Double Striker, and then use his ability to activate battle to combo the energy amplification for free. Yeah, so when you combo with this guy, you basically have the you basically facilitate the arrival. So you can basically pay 2 energy here to play this, and then that forces them to discard, and then you can play another 2 energy to play this, and that forces them to discard. And that's really cool because now you have 2 energy open. So in the event that you do have the Android full power counter again, you're able to use it again. But in my hand I don't have it, so it's always nice to keep 2 energy open just in case I do draw into it, so that's not too bad. So from here you can pretty much combo up to 35k, so your opponent's gonna have to take a beating after that. So you're gonna Z charge that. Hopefully you're able to see a card that you might can use to use full power counter. In other instances, you can actually just tap out just to play her, so you can actually rejuvenate. So this way you're able to choose all your opponent's battle card if they have any, and then you're basically able to pay her for 2 energy. The reason why she costs 2 is because, again, your leader is able to reduce the cost of Android Scientist, and she is a Scientist card and an Android 21 card. And then that being an Android 21 card allows you to basically play this card and then rejuvenate. And by then, I would hope my opponent does have some sort of battle cards that I can absorb. And unisons as well. So let's say we're able to rejuvenate 1. So let's just put 1 card in my life here. So now I have 5. And this basically allows me to have blocker. You can attack once with this guy, and attack once with this guy to restand him, and attack once with her. And she does have dual attack and blocker. So all these 3 cards here have blocker and dual attack. So you're able to basically block a lot of attacks. You're also allowed to negate here, and you have super combos. Basically, and then you're also able to combo an Android 16 from your hand. So that should be that should allow you to have another turn. But yeah, that's generally it. You also have access to the burn strategy. So in the event that your opponent is running low on hand size, or basically running low on hand size, and they start taking life, you do have the Android 5 to basically burn your opponent. So yeah, so most likely you're going to be able to see another turn, and then you're able to see this one. At this point, you can probably not choose a charge because your big threats in this deck are usually the 8-drop Android 8, which is this one, and then most likely you won't want to tap out 5 for this one, even though it does have deflect, it doesn't have barrier. So in the event that you want to play her, you could. You just need to be able to ramp 1 more time, and I don't think that's worth it. So we're going to skip charge here and basically discard this card. Look at the top 5. You guys get the general idea here. So that's kind of how the deck works here. You can probably search for this one. I wouldn't do it personally, so I'm going to get the Android 6 or the Android 4 here. Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't able to see another copy of the Total Audacity because this card is allowing you to draw 2 cards a turn, giving your opponent a clone token. But yeah, that's generally the strategy of this deck. It's a pretty good defensive deck in my opinion because you're able to play her as a floodgate, but you're also able to combo cards for free, and that's pretty cool. And then you also have the cards that you can play for 2 energy from your hand, and a lot of them are really good in my opinion, like this one in particular. You can pay this for 2 energy, and then your opponent has to discard a card, and you're able to attack twice with it. I think it's pretty good. Total Audacity allows you to have double strike advantage, and then you're also able to draw 2 cards as well. Other than that, there's not really much other cards in this deck that you can play. If you look at your Z deck here, you can pretty much Z stack the Cell underneath your Dr. Jero if you need to. But generally, I'm going to refrain from doing that. Let's look at the Z deck here, or the extra, or the main deck here. You can definitely play the Beautiful Scientist to allow you to ramp and then KO one of your battle cards. But yeah, that's pretty much how the deck is played. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's Android 16. I hope this deck is actually going to be pretty good in the next meta. I think I love Android 16 as a character, so hopefully this deck is actually pretty decent in the upcoming meta. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.